name is Taylor and I am a 42-year-old trans man, and this is my story. My story began in 1983 in a very conservative and communist Romania. I was born in a normal working class family. My mom was an engineer and my dad was an engineer as well. My mom was born in the rural side of Romania. My dad was born in the city. Their love story started when they met at uni and then later on married and had me. I don't remember much since when I was a baby, but I do remember things from when I was 4 or 5 years old. It was around that time when I started going to kindergarten, and my earliest memory from kindergarten is me trying to pee like a boy. My teachers back then were not very happy with what they discovered, and of course they had to tell my mom. My mom didn't pay much attention to it back then. My mom literally just told me to don't mind the teachers, to just do my thing. Basically, you could say that from a very young age, my mom let me be myself. The only difference was when it came to kindergarten celebrations, I kind of had to comply. So if in some occasions I had to wear dresses and dress up like a girl, I was doing that. I can't say it was very pleasant, because I remember that I used to make a very big fuss when I was put in a dress. Literally, I was throwing a tantrum, crying, and all the other things that a child could do. But I guess I was just too young to express myself. But when I was about 6 years old, I just told my mom that I don't want to have my hair long. I don't ever recall having my hair too long, to be honest, because I know I was always making another big fuss about it, about my hair. I just wanted my hair to be short, like all the other boys. And my parents let me have short hair. You can see in some of the pictures from kindergarten where I was put in a dress and my hair was very short. I was not happy at all about the dress, but I was happy about the hair. I also remember specifically that I was refusing to play with the girls in kindergarten. I was refusing to play with dolls. All I wanted to do was play with the boys, play ball basically, and play with cars. I think my dad got the memo, because for Christmas I wasn't getting dolls, I was getting cars to play with. And sure, you might say that this doesn't necessarily mean that one is trans. No, it doesn't necessarily mean that one is trans. But in my case, and I'm talking from my own experience, this was a very early sign for me. This and the fact that I kind of had a crush on one of my kindergarten colleagues. Obviously, I didn't know how to express it. I didn't do anything about it. Things changed a lot in terms of what I was wearing when I was about 6 or 7, and I could express myself more to my parents. Leaving aside the tantrums, I was as honest as a kid could be in telling them that I do not wish to wear dresses anymore. I want to wear pants or trousers, how you call them here in the UK. And that is what I asked, and that is what I got. After kindergarten, I think I can count on the fingers of one hand how many times I actually wore a dress. In my primary school years now, I really flourished as myself, as my true self. I was constantly dressing up as a guy. I was even trying to assume male pronouns. I can even say that I think I had a girlfriend in primary school. And I would say think because I was confused and then she was confused as well, but all we knew was basically that we really liked each other. I didn't know the term lesbian back then. I didn't know the term trans, so I didn't really knew how to categorize myself, and I was very young as well. I know some of the teachers from primary school expressed concerns to my parents that I like girls. I don't even think they knew much about it back then. And besides school, I was always outside playing with boys. I was playing football, soccer, you might call it. I used to love to play soccer. And even though some of the kids were mean to me, telling me, oh, this is not a girl's sport and you shouldn't be playing soccer, you should just be playing with girls and playing with dolls and stuff like that, I never stopped playing soccer, and I actually had quite a few good friends there in my neighborhood who were calling me along with them to play soccer, because I was actually good at soccer. Going into high school, it was a rough period for me. I was leaving behind my friends that I made in primary school, that they were accepting me exactly how I was. It was kind of like an uncharted territory for me, high school. And I had a very rough time fitting in, especially in the first year of high school. And the hardest part was when I was thinking that I have 4 years of this. Because no one really knew me, the first few months of high school, I just tried to fit in as my normal self, presenting as a male with male clothes. But I found that to be very difficult because a lot of my colleagues and other people from high school were picking on me. That just didn't sit well with me. So I thought, why don't I just be a girl? You know, that's what they want, so that's what I'm going to give them. So I pretended, even though I was suffering inside, I pretended, and I dressed very feminine and I let my hair to grow a bit. But that wasn't enough. That didn't do it for them. At that point, I realized, why am I doing this to myself? Because this is just not me. Why am I pretending to make other people happy? I shouldn't be pretending to make other people happy. I should just be myself, and I'm the one who should be happy, not the people around me. I realized at a very young age, I think I was 14 or 15, that you should never please the people around you, because what's the point if that makes you unhappy? So I reverted back to being myself. And the main thing is, it was like a light bulb that went off in my head. The main thing is that I was happy, and I realized that, yeah, they might pick on me, but that doesn't matter because I'm living my life as my true self. I also had my first official girlfriend in high school. Obviously, we were hiding. Now, on the family front, my family never actually told me what to wear or how to behave or nothing like that. They saw me being my true self. They saw that I was happy and they had nothing to say about it. Once we got to our second and third year of high school, things started to be a bit more normal for me, I would say. People just kind of got used to the way I was. And the bullying kind of stopped. But the one thing that didn't seem to stop was the attention that I was getting from the guys from my classroom. The attention that I didn't actually need. And that was mainly because I was having a girlfriend, then we broke up, then I had another girlfriend. So basically I would say there was a bit of a jealousy back then from them, because they were asking me, oh, how come you get to have all these girlfriends and we not have a girlfriend? So yeah, there was definitely jealousy. But as we got to the last year of high school, everyone was kind of like they laid low when it comes to me, so they didn't really bother me. On the home front, my mom was more puzzled as, why do I keep on bringing girls home and why can't I just stick to one girl? That was her main concern. We never had a talk like, oh, you have to get married to a guy, you have to have a family, none of that. Like I said, they saw that I was happy being my true self and they just let me be myself, simple as that. After I finished high school and went to uni, everyone was too busy at uni, you know, getting drunk and having fun than to pick on me, so I didn't really have any issues there. I was also jumping from relationship to relationship, so I didn't really have like steady relationships, like long-term relationships, until I was like in my mid-20s, I would say. After I finished uni, I started a job, and that's when the situation becomes a bit more complicated for me. That job, I didn't really feel safe to be myself. I mean, not safe if you know what I mean, but because of the people that I was working with, high-ranked people in a company. So I was very concerned about my position there, so I couldn't really be myself. And that was tough. I felt like I was living a double life. And I'm saying that I felt like I was living a double life because for almost 10 years, I used to go at that job dressed up as a girl. That was absolutely heartbreaking for me because of all the progress that I've done in my social life, with family, with friends. So if my friends were meeting me every day, seeing me as a guy and addressing to me as a guy with male pronouns and a male name, at work, it was a completely, totally different situation. Every morning, I was leaving home with a dress in my bag. And when I was getting to work, I was going into the restroom and I was changing, and I was a girl. I didn't want to leave home like that because everyone kind of knew me and knew my true self. So that would have been so awkward, and I would have felt so embarrassed if someone would have seen me as a girl. Yeah, I also forgot to mention that at my high school prom, I had to wear a dress, and that was very, very uncomfortable. As you may see in the picture, I am smiling, but that is not me at all. So yeah, I pretended at work for almost 10 years. I was also afraid if someone from work might bump into me in the city and they would be like, I don't recognize you, but I do know you from work. That was really tough having to pretend like that. I was finally in a long-term relationship, I believe, for about 1 year and a half with someone. And that was another big concern of mine. What if someone sees us together, from work? What would they believe? Because, you have to think about it like this. I didn't know that I was trans back then. There was no visibility for trans people in Romania. Well, I always thought of myself as a very butch lesbian, but I knew I actually feel like a guy and I don't feel like a girl. I wasn't really able to categorize myself again, to put myself in a box, even though I don't like to be put in a box, so to speak, but I really needed to know. Once the internet really flourished, then I found out that, yeah, I'm actually trans, and then everything clicked in my head that, yeah, I'm not a butch lesbian, I'm just a trans guy. So going back to my relationship, we were together for about 1 year and a half, and the sister of my girlfriend was living in Germany. You might see where this is going. We had the opportunity to move to Germany and start a life there. A lot of people from Romania leave because of financial difficulties. Well, not really difficulties. I wouldn't say difficulties, but because salaries in Romania are very, very low compared to other European countries. And actually, I was meant to start my transition there, and I was very, very excited when I had an appointment there to talk about this. But we did ended up breaking up after about a year after we moved there, and I just didn't want to stay there anymore. I didn't really have any friends. I found the language to be very hard to learn, and there was that language barrier, so I couldn't really find like a proper job either. So we broke up, and after 2 weeks I decided to come to the UK. I had some friends here in Northampton in the UK, and they helped me, so I just after 2 weeks, literally after we broke up, I just switched countries. I found UK to be very, very welcoming when it comes to me being who I am. Basically, none of the people that I met there in Northampton cared that I was trans. As long as I was a kind human being, that was all that mattered to them. After spending about 7 months in Northampton, I found that city to be too small for me, so I ended up moving to London because I was used to living in a big city in Germany. I lived in Düsseldorf, which had 1 million plus inhabitants, so I said I need to move to London, even though it's a lot more expensive than Northampton, but I did came here. And it was here where I met the love of my life, to which I'm married now. And we are going through IVF. We met about 11 years ago. It was kind of like a whirlwind romance, because we met, and 2 weeks after we met live for the first time, and 3 weeks after we actually started talking, we went on our third date to Disneyland. And 1 year later, I actually proposed to her in the same place, in Disneyland. And I also started my transition here with her help, because I didn't really knew how things were going here, so she really, really helped me. So I started my transition 1.5 years ago. In November it will be 9 years, so quite a long time ago. I will never ever forget when I had my first injection, and how happy I was, and how I thought that everything will change overnight, but it didn't. It took quite a bit of time. The first thing that I noticed was that my period stopped, of course, but I will talk about the start of my transition in another video, because I don't want this to get too long. I'm getting emotional thinking back now. I hope you enjoyed my story, and there's more to come. Just hit that subscribe button if you like me and you like to follow for some more. Thank you for watching.